Welcome to this week's edition of the Abrams Boxing Show. I'm Mark Abrams. We'll be talking a little Usyk, Joshua, some of the fights from Showtime, headlined by Brandon Figueroa and Sergey Lipinets. ESPN, some good fights with Emmanuel Navarrete. And we will be joined by heavyweight contender Joey Dawejko, who will be back in action September 1st at Parks Casino in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. But first things first, let's jet back to last Saturday afternoon here in the United States. From Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, Alexander Usyk retained his WBA, IBF, and WBO heavyweight championships with a 12-round split decision in a rematch over former world champion Anthony Joshua. Scores were 115, 113, 116, 112 for Usyk, and 115, 113 for Joshua. It was a good fight. Remind me a little bit of the first fight. It was a little bit better than the first fight. Both fighters, I thought, were better. Joshua especially, he didn't look as lackluster in the first fight as lackluster as he did in the first fight. But in the first half of the fight, he was really in the fight. But the last 2-3 rounds was all Alexander Usyk, and that's why they call it the championship rounds, as he was able to retain his WBA, WBO, and IBF heavyweight championships, and he said he's not going to fight again unless it's against Tyson Fury. So we'll see what happens there. It seems like if you read everything going on and hear things that they were saying on the Top Rank broadcast, that it's a fight that can be made pretty easily. It seems like both guys want it, and it seems like that Fury wants to come out of retirement again to fight Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Saw something today that Fury wants like $400 million for. Well, good luck with that one. So, but we'll see. Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, hopefully coming to the first quarter or so in 2023. On the undercard, WBC light heavyweight eliminator Calamundo Smith went to 29-1 with 21 knockouts as he stopped WBC's number 2 ranked Matthew Batterleek, 21-2, 12 knockouts. It was another vicious knockout for Callum Smith. He's ever since the Canelo fight scored a couple big knockouts, and he is now the WBC mandatory for Artur Beterbiev, who's got 3 belts of his own. So we'll see if Callum Smith gets a crack at Beterbiev sometime in the future. Also, there was a let's see here. I got here on my notes. Here it is. Another elimination bout, the heavyweight elimination bout that saw a split decision win for Filip Hrgović. He got off the deck to win the split decision over Zhang Zhilei. That fight also part of the big card in Saudi Arabia. So now a WBC mandatory, IBF mandatory for Filip Hrgović. But he may have to wait a little while. Because obviously we just talked about Usyk and Fury possibly getting it on later or early in 2023. So Hrgović was a very entertaining heavyweight scrap. Also, a big win by Badu Jack. He won a split decision over Richard Rivera, 96-94 twice and 96-94. So Badu Jack, who's looking to become a 3-division world champion, this time in the cruiserweight division. Saturday night in Hollywood, Florida, Sergey Lipinets went to 17-2-1, not just 13 stoppage. He stopped Omar Figueroa after round 7 of their big 140-pound bout. Lipinets was stepping in for Adrian Broner, got the call early in the week, and really put it on Omar Figueroa Jr., and so much to the point that Figueroa Jr. said, I don't have anything left. And he basically called it a career after the loss. So Sergey Lipinets, 17-2-1, 13 knockouts. If this is indeed it for Omar Figueroa Jr., 28-3-1, 19 knockouts, former lightweight titleist. So not a bad career. Also, a couple world title fights marked the undercard. Hector Garcia won the 130-pound WBA championship with a unanimous decision over defending champion Roger Gutierrez. Garcia now 16-0 with 10 knockouts. Gutierrez 26-4-1 with 20 knockouts. Scores were 117, 111 twice and 118, 110 for the new champion Hector Garcia. And in a vacant world title bout, formerly held by Josh Taylor. Alberto Puello, 21-0, 10 knockouts, scored a split decision over Batir Akhmedov. Scores are 117-111 twice for Puello and 115-113 for Akhmedov. It definitely, I could see Puello winning the fight, but 117-111 twice. I'm not really agreeing with those two scores. It's a fight that was very close. It was a 115-113 fight, in my opinion. Either way, probably for Puello, but two judges saw it a little bit more in favor for the Dominican. Good night for the Dominican Republic. They get two world champions in the bring back to the country with Puello and Hector Garcia. Also, Saturday night, Emmanuel Navarrete in San Diego scored a spectacular 6-round stoppage on a body shot, stopped Eduardo Baez to retain his WBO featherweight championship. It was a good fight, pretty close fight back and forth in round 6. One body shot, down went Baez. Fight was over. Emmanuel Navarrete is one of the more exciting fighters out there. He looks like, he wants to fight against Oscar Valdez, maybe a fight with Shakur Stevenson. Wouldn't mind seeing either of those. Navarrete, who's gets hit, which makes for good fights, good entertaining fights. And he got hit a bunch of times against Eduardo Baez, but he had the eraser in round 6 with the body shot to come home with the victory. Also, Sunday in Orlando, Florida, super lightweight Kenneth Sims, who joined us a couple weeks ago, became the new WBA Intercontinental Champion by stopping Christian Rubio Mino. Sims now 18-2-1 with 6 knockouts. Sims, who joined us, like I said, a couple weeks ago. Again, another. I think it was a body shot that set up one of the knockdowns. Time was 1:05 of round 6. Coming up on September 1st at the Park Casino, right down the road from where I'm sitting here in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, Joey Dawejko, everyone's favorite, very popular heavyweight guy who would take fights, fight anybody. He's going to fight Mike Marshall at the Parks Casino, and they had a media day for Joey, and got a chance to speak to him, and this is how. Here with Joey Dawejko on September 1st, taking on Mike Marshall here at the right down the road at Parks Casino. Joey, how you feeling?
I feel pretty good. Happy to be back.
I know, after the last fight it was a disappointing performance. I know you got off they called you real late on it, and I know because me and you have talked that you didn't know what you wanted to do. And apparently you didn't want to go out like that. Is that kind of like the motivation for this fight on September 1st?
I mean, my last fight, you can't really judge me off of that. I didn't train like 1 second for that fight. They called me that week, I think. I took it that week. So for me to go 8 rounds with an undefeated guy who's supposedly a puncher, like that shouldn't happen. I feel like I could have went the distance. There was only a minute left in the fight, and they stopped it. But it is what it is. But now it's different for me now because, like, back then I needed to fight. And as crazy as this sounds, like, I want to fight now. You know what I mean? So that's the motivation now because I want to fight. September 1st, is this maybe the start of a last run for you, in terms of, like you said, I know you put some stuff out on Facebook. Like you said, you don't need to fight more. You have a nice little business going now. Is this maybe the start of a last run? Maybe you want to build up a couple quick wins and get another shot at something, whether it's an undefeated guy or a contender or something like that. Is that what the plan is? I could put 5 wins back to back and get the wins, but I think I'll always be in a promoter's mind of coming in maybe late notice, but I'm training now, so it's different. So I'm staying in shape. I'm staying in the gym. So hopefully they do call me for a big opportunity after I put a couple wins together and I could spoil somebody. Do
you any guys in mind there that may be on that uptick that you want to, that you feel that you can expose or defeat?
There's a whole list of guys that I would like to fight because I'm a fighter. So, but
a name or two.
I can't think off the top of my head. You know what I mean? I just want to get back, fight Mike Marshall. You know what I mean? And then move on to the next fight, get another win, and then move on from there. Hopefully we could get another big name or something and see what happens.
Marshall's guy who came in here a few months ago fought Sonny Conta. I think you were at the fight, if I'm not mistaken. What did you see? What does he bring to the table?
Mike's a slick fighter. You know what I mean? He kind of looks like me a little bit out there, but he's a slick fighter. So it's not going to be tough for me, but it's going to be tough for me because just getting back into fighting, and it'll be a good test for me to see where I'm at.
You were at that fight, so here we are several months later. You're fighting him. Jerry, I know you were sitting in the back there. You're minding your own business. You ever think you'd be in the ring with that guy?
I'm actually friends with Mike. So I actually, when I found out that that's who I was fighting, I actually messaged him, and I was like, damn, you took a fight with me, for real? And I told him I can't talk shit now because we're friends, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. I'm happy he took the fight, and I'm happy to be fighting him,
And what's it like? I know you've gone on the road several times. I know Germany. You just fought Shaw. That fight was in Oklahoma.
Been all over.
Now you're somewhat close to home. Bensalem's not too far from where you're in Philadelphia. So what's it like coming back home?
It feels great, man. I sold a lot of tickets already. It's going to be a great fight. You know what I mean? Being in front of my hometown crowd and my family and my fans and everything. It's gonna be a great fight.
What do you want to say to the fans in closing before we see you on Thursday night, September 1st at Park Casino, Bensalem, Johan Promotions?
I just thank you for the continued support. My whole career, a lot of people supported me, and I'm happy and glad that I could still get that support from people.
Well, it's been a long run. You're not ready to stop the train just yet, Joey. We'll see you next Thursday night, September 1st, at the Parks Casino in Bensalem. Talk to you along the way.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it, man.
There you have it, Joey Dawejko, September the 1st at Park Casino, Bensalem, Pennsylvania. This week, not much really going on. One show in particular, good fight though. ESPN Plus Saturday night in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, at the Hard Rock. Former world champions Jose Pedraza, 29-4, 14 knockouts, taking on Richard Comey, 30-4 with 27 knockouts. Good fight at the Hard Rock, headlining on ESPN. Also, Jared Anderson be in action, Effie Ajagba, a couple of my split T guys in the action, Haven Brady Jr., Dante Benjamin, Tiger Johnson. Lots of good talent on display Saturday night on ESPN Plus, Top Rank Boxing. Very good show. Some news of the week. WBC and WBO featherweight champion Amanda Serrano, 42-2, 130 knockouts, will take on Sarah Mahfoud. That will take place. Mahfoud is 11-0 with 3 knockouts. September 24th at the AO Arena in Manchester, England. That will be the co-feature bout to the big Joseph Parker, Joe Joyce fight in Manchester, England. WBC super flyweight champion Juan Francisco Estrada. That's what happens when you're reading this stuff. Will defend against RG Cortez. The DAZN Scream fight will take place in Hermosillo, Mexico. Will also feature a couple other world title fights. The WBA female featherweight champion Erica Cruz, 14-1 with 3 knockouts, takes on Jelena Marjanovic, 41-1-2 with 19 knockouts. Also, the vacant IBF light flyweight title will be on display. 20-0, 10 knockouts. That's Hector Flores. He will take on Seventhai Nanstinga, 10-0, 9 knockouts. Also, good fight between Eduardo Hernandez and Jorge Moda on the card as well. Former IBF middleweight champion David Lemieux announced his retirement. It's a tough week. David Lemieux, his father got murdered, and then he retired. David Lemieux, a good, honest fighter, gave it all. Didn't always win the big fights, but was a world champion. And I'll tell you this about David Lemieux. I've broadcasted a lot of fights ringside. And I did a fight between him and Alvaro Center in Montreal. Might have been the most vicious or second most vicious knockout I've ever witnessed live. That he knocked him out in one of his. I mean, he definitely could punch. You can actually hear the whistle on David Lemieux's punches when you're sitting ringside. Tremendous puncher. All the best to him in retirement. Retires with a record of 43-5 with 36 knockouts. Sebastian Fundora, 19-0, 13 knockouts, will defend the WBC interim super welterweight title against challenger Carlos Ocampo. Ocampo, 34-1 with 22 knockouts. That fight will take place September 8th on Showtime at the home, well, it used to be the Home Depot Center, the Dignity Sports, the Dignity Health Sports Complex in Carson, California. That will be a triple header that night as Carlos Adamos, 21-1, 16 knockouts, takes on Juan Macias Montiel, 23-5-2. That will be a WBC interim title fight for Jamal Charlo, who's on the sidelines right now. Adames was next in line to fight Charlo, and Montiel lost a gritty decision to Charlo as well. This will be a rematch of the IBF Junior Bantamweight Championship. Fernando Martinez, 14-0, 8 knockouts, would take on the man he dethroned, Jarwin Incajas, 32-2-2, 22 knockouts. So that'll be a nice triple header in October. That's October 8th. We got Wilder and Helenius October 15th, and some other great fights that are going to be announced. And hopefully, Spence and Crawford will be at the Canelo and Golovkin fight September 17th. So a lot of good stuff coming up from Abrams Boxing. I'd like to thank Joey Dawejko for joining me this week, and join us next week as we're looking to secure a few guests that will be competing on the big September 4th Andy Ruiz, Luis Ortiz pay-per-view. So I'd like to thank everyone watching. I'm Mark Abrams. We will see you soon.